I'm here with Shadi T. Mir. I hope I say your name right.
That is correct.
I'm Simon Duval-Smith from Automotive Purchasing and Supply Chain, and also here New Mobility we're covering as well. And Shadi is the CEO of an exciting new initiative which is called Pedestrian, which is, can I say, it's a last mile solution, low cost, driverless delivery solution for the last mile, or are you thinking of any amount of distance?
No, that's a very good description. We're really focusing just on urban areas with a limited distance from the city center.
Right. Now, one of the challenges we have in automotive is getting things 24 hours a day, because, for example, an OEM, a car maker, will send parts to a dealer to repair a car that's broken on Monday, and the dealer should have the parts before he starts work on Tuesday, so the customer can have his car back at Tuesday lunchtime. Now, one of the beauties of your model, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is that it can operate quietly 24 hours without having to worry about paying a driver to work at night and so on, and can work very quietly, and I imagine will integrate with automated docking and delivery systems at the delivery point. Would that be right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's one of the biggest advantages of doing driverless delivery is you can go 24/7. You know, and it's not really a big deal for the robot or the vehicle to charge and while another one is doing its duty. So that's a big advantage.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to get onto charging. It's the great bugbear of miscommunication in electric vehicles is that you can only go 200 meters and then it's going to need charging again. Right. As you say, with an intelligent system like this. Now, the actual loading, are you thinking of using a cassette type of container that can quickly be swapped from vehicle to vehicle?
You're talking specifically about the battery?
Yeah, no, the load.
Oh, the load.
Yeah.
We actually have a very interesting and patented approach to even dropping packages even while you're not at home. Let's say you basically what distinguishes our vehicle, which we call it B1, it can go a couple of stairs, a couple of steps up, and can go maybe deliver to the back porch while you're not there. So on B1, we actually have 3 compartments, and both of them are cooled and heated. We actually have a cooling system. So let's say you're transferring a hot pizza and a cold drink. You could do it on the same delivery using those 2 different compartments. And the mechanism that we're using, since our background from automotive, is actually a mechanism that has been used in millions of vehicles. So it's already robust and it's pretty operational from the get-go.
And the docking, our ideal scenario is that my customer is waiting for his car, I come to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, and somehow the package has been delivered in somewhere safe, I can get on with it straight away, it's the right one in the right place and so on. So you're going to liaise, are you going to be promoting your own docking system at the customer reception point, or liaising with some other system of mailbox type of thing?
So you're talking about charging specifically?
No, the package.
The package.
I need the package early in the morning, and I want it to be there when I arrive for work.
So currently, I mean, we're approaching the same way as the current system happens right now. So if you have an Amazon delivery, they usually leave it by the door. So we're going to have the same kind of approach. We do have a system that we're working on and integrate into your vehicle as well. So it allows our robot to actually drop it in your trunk. Well, let's say you have it parked at the office or around the house. So we're actually working on that. And our system is pretty unique because we have one vehicle that's the lead robot, but we also have a trailer that attached to it in a hitchless way. And this gives it a bigger range, and it allows it to take much bigger packages and do that delivery.
So with this train, if I might call it that, system, can you foresee where you have very large loads actually dropping off one of the trailers at my garage early in the morning, and then your lead will come around and pick it up later? Is that something that's
absolutely.
in your feasibility studies?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. The only thing is the use case and the application is a little bit different. So we're being asked by grocery store chains to modify the trailer and have a fridge and a mini mart in there.
Right.
So you could actually take, so in the US we have a lot of games. So you can actually take that trailer, park it in the game, and it becomes a vending machine at that point.
Right,
And you come and collect it at the end of the day, like your example.
And so that trailer will have its own power unit, power source.
Yes.
Lithium-ion batteries and a heating and cooling system.
Exactly. The only thing that the trailer won't have is autonomous capability. It'll still need the front vehicle. And the reason we do that is from a cost perspective. So you could have really a modifiable trailer with a very low cost of ownership and modification.
Yeah. So it's a barge. It's a dumb vehicle. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this could also roll out to catering for, say, on an industrial estate where there are several businesses, people want to have lunch, and to save the guy going to the market to get everything, it can all be packaged in the trailer, dropped off there, and he can sell from the trailer.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, one of the applications that we're starting with, that we were approached about, there's a sports arena, and it's pretty large. And the customer wants us to actually take the trailer and deliver it to different spots.
Right.
But they also want to expand it to business cafeterias. So let's say a large company like Ford or whoever want to, exactly like your example, kind of deliver it just during lunch and then get on with it after that.
Yeah. Well, again, this is good for the environment as well, because it's saving a lot of journeys. A lot of journeys for going to the market and buying things and so on. What's your plan on the scale and size of pedestrian vehicle, B1 and then B10 to B10?
Right,
How
sure.
big are you thinking of going? What's the parameters that you're working to?
So we're really after a goal right now. I mean, the market is so new and so big. No matter what you take, any part of it is really, there's still plenty left to go after.
Yes.
So our target within 5 to 6 years, we're hoping to get to around 24 to 50,000 vehicles.
Right.
That's the hope, of course.
Right. And the actual physical size of the vehicles?
So the physical size of the vehicle right now, it's almost the half of the width of a regular car. And we do that because you don't want to block traffic and people can see around it as they're driving, so it's not really slowing traffic. But for us, there's really no limitation. We can make it wide and big as much as we want, because the same technology from an autonomous perspective, from the hardware and the software, is just the same.
It's scalable.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. But what we're starting with is really a model that applies for both indoor and outdoor from the same model. We're just modifying a little bit of functionality and mechanical to make it a little bit more robust for the street when we actually go and deliver in urban areas.
Right. Well, in London, in the UK, and in quite a few cities around the world, we have cycle lanes. Are you doing any research or lobbying to legislators about that you could possibly use cycle lanes and not have to go on the road with it or on the highway?
Yeah, it's a great question, because right now in the US, a lot of those deliveries are actually going on the sidewalk, and in some areas like San Francisco, they're getting banned because they're crowding the pedestrians.
Yeah.
So I think the right solution is to be on the street.
Yeah.
Now the question becomes, as you're saying, do we lobby for the bike lanes? But we're actually talking to some cities, especially in Michigan, that eventually we would have a dedicated lane for delivery, not only for us, but a lot of other cities. And I think urban planners are starting to think about that mode. So if you have a dedicated driverless delivery lane, that would be a better solution, but you're not going to always get that. And speaking just from a US perspective, a lot of these cities are open for us to actually use the bike lanes as well as using the sidewalk. But it's going to differ, and that's what we're going to try to be as flexible as possible to satisfy both.
Speaking of Michigan, where I know the road conditions are not always perfect because of the heavy loaded trucks, which had no limit traditionally in Michigan to stimulate the car industry, and the frost and the potholes and so on. How robust, I mean, what size wheels are you're not using 15-inch wheels to start with, I imagine, but they're pretty decent size.
Yeah, they're pretty decent size. The issue is really not the wheels, it's the suspension that you put on it. Because what happens if you don't have the right suspension, it throws off the navigation and the telemetry of it. So that's the biggest factor.
Right.
So one of the suppliers that we're using actually builds suspension for Renault as well as the military. So so we're hoping it'll be actually robust enough, even for Michigan roads.
Even for Michigan roads, yeah. The power units, I mean, are you sourcing this all over the world, your componentry?
So we have a strategic partner in France that we work with, and they're a supplier to Renault Nissan as well as us. So we have quite a strong European connection. So half of the vehicle is being manufactured in France and the other half in the US. But the hardware as well as the software, most of it is in the US. We also have an office in India that does some of the software development as well.
Right. Well, that's the place to have it, in Bangalore, I imagine. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so the plan is to be operational in 2019?
Yes, absolutely. So we have 2 pilots right now that will be in a Michigan hospital. That's the indoor application. And the first application will be delivering about 100 deliveries per day between a pharmacy lab where they make the drugs to a cancer center, all within inside the building. And we're slowly in that same year going to expand to adjacent building where you go and deliver. They're connected by private road and some of them are by public road.
Right. Now the cost of all this is considerable because where you're interacting with other vehicles and pedestrians and cyclists and so on, you're going to have a lot of sensor technology and so on. How amortizable is it? I mean, you've obviously done your business model, I'm sure, with great care, and but it's something that takes some time to pay back, or what is the kind of plan?
Yes, surprisingly, from a commoditization point of view, the prices are coming down considerably. And as we used to do in the automotive, you really, when you get a new technology, usually you put it on premium vehicles and it trickles down to economy cars. So we have a similar approach. But I'll give you kind of a really quick example. 3 years ago, when you used to test autonomous cars, we used to buy the LiDAR, which is the most important piece. Or sensor for the autonomous driving. I used to pay $100,000. Today I'm paying $6,000. Next year we'll be paying about $600. So that kind of gives you an idea about one of the most expensive aspects of the vehicle. So from a prototype aspect, we're actually phasing out and getting into the commoditization timing. So it can be a better timing to get into driverless delivery than this year.
So you're going to benefit from the economies of scale of making LiDAR, and things like this, which are being pioneered by the car makers, and then hopefully you're going to sell your service to the car makers. I imagine starting with Renault Nissan, delivering parts to their dealers first thing in the morning.
It's very possible. It's very possible.
And not waking up the neighbours.
Right, exactly.
That's the dream for for this particular part of the supply chain.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're even hoping to really serve a lot of underserved communities where people are homebound. They cannot have access to a lot of services that we take for granted. So we're hoping to be part of that. And the Department of Transportation in Michigan had a big contest and a challenge set by the governor, where they set about $8 million for startups to actually participate. And we were one of the winners as part of that. So not only we're getting the funding from the state, we're getting really a lot of cooperation to test on the roads with cities in North Michigan.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good point that about, I mean, if you think of perhaps elderly or other vulnerable people living in small communities, they might not even like a DHL or Amazon, or I better not use any names, but any driver coming to their door. But if they have a little port alongside their door where they can get their groceries or whatever from an anonymous autonomous, they might be even happier. So yeah, it has got a good social aspect in that respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Shadi.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.